All right, so if you've been watching this channel for a little bit, you probably already know I like Polestars. Kind of a weird name, and the lineup is definitely still kind of confusing between the Polestar 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all of which are kind of the same size and same shape, but I got the chance to review the Polestar 4. For those of you who might not remember, the Polestar 2 is by far their most popular model. That's the one you've probably seen on the street. And I really like that too. Testing the Polestar 4, I have this question of, well, I like it so much, why don't I recommend it? That's the thing that always comes to my mind when I review a car, really like, what's stopping me from recommending it? And with the Polestar 4, I really like it, but there's two big reasons I can't recommend it. But you know what, let's start with the positives, because there's a lot of those too. This is it, it's Polestar 4. This one is, it's not quite a sedan, but it's also not the crossover. It's like kind of right in between, like a small crossover or a huge sedan. I don't know, but I do think it still looks really good. The basics are, this is a dual motor, all-wheel drive EV. It's got a 100 kilowatt hour battery. It'll charge it up to 200 kilowatts, and it does about 280 miles of range and 0 to 60 in the mid threes for about $62,000. I do think the designers of this car cooked though, again, mostly. I think up at the front, it's a pretty handsome looking car. They do a lot of the same Polestar stuff they always do, so it's smooth and aerodynamic and it'll cut through the air, but it also has those sweet looking headlights. They also love to have text Easter eggs, so you can see that says position light unit right there. And over on the side, they always throw a little bit of extra text, so it says Polestar 4, 100 kilowatt hour battery, 400 kilowatt electrical system. These big wheels, they're on winter tires too. Obviously it's winter out here where we've been driving it. And also the yellow brake calipers, even this little gold cap where you fill in the air in the tires, it's a nice accent piece. And then the side blinker, which also doubles as a little aerodynamic feature and houses the camera on the side there. They also always have these minimalist side view mirrors, if I can get it to pop out. This is actually gonna fast forward me to one of my downsides of this car, which is the key fob. I'm holding the key fob. It's not opening. There's no buttons on the key fob to unlock the car. I think I can trigger it by pressing it, but it seems to sometimes take forever of just standing next to the car, waiting for it to unlock, which in the winter is no fun. I don't know why it's doing this. Highly recommend using the Polestar app instead. It's way faster, and they're one of the only companies that actually has a good app. So yeah, don't use the key if you don't have to. But anyway, yeah, minimalist, minimalist bezels on the front mirrors. Also, these windshield wipers are, it's kind of a low-key thing, but the little windshield wiper fluid comes out of the wiper blade itself, which is really aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, what do you think? From the side here, big wheels, sloping roofline, kind of this fastback shape, pretty nice. That's a charge port back here on the rear left, which is extra nice because that's, I think, at this point now, the commonly accepted correct place to put a charge port. And then this is the back, which is where it starts to get interesting. You're probably noticing there is no rear window at all. There is a cutout for where it seems like there should be a rear mirror, but there's just another panel there. Then there's a light up at the top, and then the rear view camera, which is right up here. And then underneath that is the lights and the rest of the trunk. So you don't actually have a rear window on the Polestar 4. It's really interesting. I do like the look of the rear lights though, and then you hit that button right there. Oh God, I gotta get this thing to see the fob. There we go. And there's your pretty sweet trunk, which also has a sub trunk underneath it to put your charging cables. So this is an excellent amount of storage space. You've got a power outlet in the back here. Yeah, this is pretty classic Polestar, making it reasonable for a family to actually travel around and daily this thing. I think the only head scratcher for me is that in a ground up EV, which the Polestar technically is, it's not just a Volvo that's electric, it's a ground up EV. It has a front trunk that you access by double pulling this latch right here. And the front trunk in this big Polestar 4 is this. Even on camera, it looks bigger than it actually is. That's like 2 cartons of eggs, probably. And then this nice cover as if you're putting anything in there. I don't know, maybe if you've got like a valuables, like a purse, and you're leaving your car for a while and you want to put your hidden valuable stuff in there, maybe that's what that's for, but that's a pretty tiny frunk, which is hilarious. But the design cooking continues on the inside of this car where I get in and I honestly feel like I'm in a commercial. Like I've seen some of those Volvo commercials, and when I get in here, I feel like I'm in that commercial. This is a really aesthetically pleasing all black interior with these somewhat sporty seats, ventilated, heating, and massaging, with little yellow accent pieces. You've probably already seen this seatbelt here, which is a pretty classic Polestar accent to match the brakes and everything else. But then these seats, you can see, are really comfortable. They have these nice bolstering. And then there's actually a contrast of materials, even in this all black interior. You see this mesh up here, which is hiding speaker grills. And then you have this little metal piece. There's ambient lighting. There's softer leather down here. Everything's sturdy and well built. Big speakers in the door. You saw the subwoofer in the trunk. And still a bunch of text because, you know, they like putting text everywhere. But it's so minimal and so clean, and this is a big part of why I like these Polestar designs so much, is because they get away with doing this really clean, sparse, minimal thing, but they're still well featured, like I said. So down here in the center console, you've got a single wireless charger for your phone. You've got a big volume knob. That's all it does is volume and play pause, no next track or previous track. So that's just minimal, just sitting there. 2 cup holders in here, and your single center console storage with 2 USB Type-C ports. That's kind of all you need. I wish there were physical controls to move the HVAC stuff around, and I wish there were real buttons to change your temperature. Instead, all of that is on the screen. But there's another set of screens we should talk about here. So center screen, driver screen, and the only way to see behind you, because there is no rear view window, that's what it looks like all the time back there. That's the camera we talked about, which is on the back of the car. That's the only way to see behind you. Crazy enough, you can turn it off. So I guess if you just want to see the rear passengers, because there's no way you see anything behind you, but obviously you probably leave that turned on to see what's actually behind you. This steering wheel I think is really nice. It's a little on the big side, but it's nice and soft. It's heated. It's got this 12 o'clock little center line with a piece of metal there. And the controls are pretty intuitive. Play pause for media, and then whatever is happening on the screen can always be controlled by these arrows in the center key. And then here's your cruise control controls on the left. So that's pretty intuitive there. And then of course the screens. So this is the primary display, and this is the driver display. Yes, it does have wireless CarPlay. And a lot of people are going to just default to that when they get a car with wireless CarPlay. You just throw that on and don't even think twice about it. And yes, the directions from CarPlay here will actually show up on the screen here. But I should actually just take a minute to shout out that Polestars continue to have some of the best software in any car that is not CarPlay. I always talk about some of the best software that's not CarPlay. A lot of people don't care. A lot of people don't care when I say Tesla has the best software that's not CarPlay. Rivian has pretty good software that's not CarPlay, but those cars don't offer CarPlay. This one, if you choose not to use CarPlay, has a pretty intuitive sort of a panel layout over here. So Google Maps on the left, and then your quick controls on the right. You can turn on one pedal driving or different levels of regen, which I'll get to in a second. You're opening your glove box, which is this little compartment over here. You can adjust your mirrors or your steering wheel from over here. So this stuff, opening the trunk, that's all over there all the time. And then you're probably wondering what ambiance is with Mercury. That's literally just changing the lighting scheme in the car. And it's kind of bright out now, so you probably can't tell, but when I changed it just now, that turned orange, because Venus. And then I'll change it to Earth, and now it's blue. So yeah, you can change the ambiance in the car with a single click in the shortcuts over here based on the planet you're on. And then of course you can get full screen Google Maps. And there's actually a feature that I've gotten to test in here, which is actually brand new collaboration between Google and Polestar, which combines the Google Maps data with the cameras on the front of the car to give you lane guidance, specifically to tell you which lane you're in and which lane you should be in on this display. It's pretty useful actually. Typically Google Maps is like, hey, get in one of the left lanes for your upcoming exit. But this will actually show you you're in the middle lane and you have the 2 lanes to the left of you to get into that to make your exit. It's a subtle thing, but if you do choose to use the built-in software that's not CarPlay, that's another advantage to it. So, okay, Marquez, you're saying a lot of good things, man. A lot of good materials, a lot of good design, a lot of good features for a $60,000 car. This seems like it's going in the right direction, but you said you couldn't recommend it, so explain. Sure, I got you. Here's the back seat of the Polestar 4. Okay, First, it's not terrible with the legroom, right? I'm kind of high need because of the battery and the floor, but a decent amount of movable legroom here. The classic text, because every Polestar has text everywhere. You can control music and HVAC from the back seat. No physical controls, but you still get controls and real vents. So this seems like a pretty good space to be. The speakers are still everywhere, and you got this big glass sunroof, which if the driver untints, is pretty nice. But one of my two disappointments with this car is the lack of a back window. It feels weirdly just a little bit claustrophobic. And again, if I'm the driver, who cares? The back seat passengers can just feel the way they feel. But I don't love the way this back seat feels. So you saw this piece, this trim piece back here, which if you can't tell, has some ambient lighting on it. It looks like it can be removed. I haven't figured out how to move it yet, but kind of just sits back there blocking the back view. And so if I'm in the back, there's sort of a low roof line, the high feet, the tinted / untinted glass. I'm not a big fan of the back seat compared to the other Polestars. Like the Polestar 2 back seat is totally normal and reasonable. So that's one of my downsides and one of the reasons I don't think I would recommend this over the other Polestars. It's a nice design though. But what's the other reason? Well, the other reason is driving this car. One simple downside that I think a lot of people can probably already see coming, because if you've been doing the math, you've already seen the numbers up here, it's the range. This Polestar 4 is rated, I think on their website they're advertising 280 miles of range, which, okay, that's just a tiny bit lower than I would want or expect for a $60,000 car. You can get in the threes, you can get in the mid threes, but okay, 280, fine. But I'm not getting anywhere near that. I think on a full charge, and it's winter and it's cold, but on a full charge, this was quoting me under 200 miles of range, which is now kind of unacceptable for the price. And I know if you're just commuting, you're not road tripping, it's not that big of a deal, but you can just get a Polestar 2 and get way more range. So it's kind of weird that it has this little range. And the crazy thing is I like driving it. I really enjoy driving the Polestar 2 or Polestar 4. And actually that's not that crazy. They're really good at these driving dynamics. This is on the softer side, and it's definitely an impressive ride based on the fact that it's not air suspension, it's just these active dampers. But in its softest mode, this thing is smooth. It cancels out some of the biggest potholes that New Jersey has to offer and has thrown at me while driving this car. That combined with this big steering wheel makes it feel like kind of that soft, isolating luxury experience. Polestar kind of does the sporty thing decently well too, but I don't think this car is about that. This is definitely about just sort of transporting around, lounging around, listening to some music, commuting, and it's really good at that. My one complaint with driving that's not the range is the liftoff regen is a little bit delayed, a little bit of lag, so you might have noticed that feature up here where I can turn on complete one-pedal driving, which technically it does do one-pedal driving. It'll slow to a stop, but I'd prefer a little bit more of a direct modulation of acceleration as I lift off throttle. Some feedback for the Polestar engineers. But yeah, when you're driving in regular mode, aka range mode, it's very chill, it's very relaxed, and when you switch to performance mode, it's much more responsive on that throttle. It does feel like in range mode when you like pin the throttle, it's probably in rear wheel drive and it takes a minute to re-engage the front axle, and then it's all wheel drive, and then you feel it's rocket ship quick. It's super, super fast. But in performance mode, they'll be on all the time. But yeah, not a big difference in range mode. Like I said, 200 miles of range. How can I recommend a car in 2026 for $62,000 with 200 miles of range? So my one suggestion to Polestar, because I've been pretty clear about it now reviewing the entire lineup, is I love what you're doing with the design. Keep cooking, keep paying whoever's cooking to do what they're doing with these things. Keep doing what you're doing with the interiors and the materials, because that's awesome too. The speakers are usually quite good. Maybe tune it a little bit closer to the way those Volvo EX90 speakers sound, that would be sick. But if there's one thing that you can change about these Polestars, especially the Polestar 4, more range, more efficiency. It's a 100 kilowatt hour battery. There are cars that are way more efficient on smaller batteries that get 75 more miles of range on a single charge. That would be enough to put it over the edge for me to actually recommend this thing, if you can get over the lack of a back window. But let me know what you think. Polestar 4, Can the aesthetics to you outweigh the lack of range? Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.